G'day, guys. Welcome to Rumble's Fish Room. I don't know what I was trying to say then. That was a horrible transition because I was actually concentrating on the game, but we're all here now. I got no idea how the stream's going to go. I haven't used StreamYard for many moons. How many moons is in a year? We could roughly work out the moons. I got a little guest sitting backstage. I'm sure we can all imagine who it is. Craig's messaging me. Am I going live? Yes, Craig. I'm live right now. G'day, Craig. G'day, Anonymous. How are you? I haven't seen you for a while. Hang on, I haven't seen any of you for a while because I've been off with the dreaded flu. I'll bring a guest on stage and then I'll explain my last 3 weeks to you, I think. No stranger to the channel. It's Bodgy. Welcome.
Hey. Thank you for having me on here.
That's all right. I know we've been talking about it for a very long time, and sometimes I just fall into my habits, and like streaming by myself is one less app that I have to use. So I get stuck in a bit of a rut.
It's not just you either. I've been the past month has just been the absolute killer for uni. Finally finished it all, so I've got some free time, and I was like, yeah, all right, let me stream. Oh, make sure you're streaming. Let me jump into your stream. Yeah, it's good. I got a lot of time.
That's awesome. Must be a bit of a relief, finishing.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, it's good. I can finally focus on the time. I haven't looked this messy in a very long time, and it was just such a big relief to get on top of everything, do the water changes, clean up the algae. It was looking dreadful in here. It sort of still does, but it's getting better.
One thing, because my fish room doesn't have windows, is I never have to worry about algae. That's one positive.
I've got a massive one right in front of me, so it's just sunlight. Yeah. And it moves across the room as well, so all the tanks get their fair bit of sunlight throughout the day. It's great.
Yeah, I must say I do miss looking at fish in the natural sunlight, but
it's good. Yeah, especially in the saltwater tank, because that gets the sunlight most of the time throughout the day, and seeing it under sunlight and then under the blue LEDs is night and day. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, that's cool. Anonymous, really telling the truth there. You sound like death. So I sound like this. I'm actually 3 weeks post COVID. So yeah, I was going to explain the story. So I got COVID. I went on 100-kilometer dirt bike ride. I almost ran out of fuel 200 meters from the car. And I finished the ride and I thought, oh man, I'm extremely tired. But then 100 Ks on a dirt bike through single trail is a long way. Flu shot does absolutely nothing, Craig. So I felt like shit. And then obviously got COVID on the Sunday. By sort of Thursday, starting to feel a bit better. And then the next Sunday, so a week later, I started feeling like shit again. And I think I got the flu because I was testing negative the next week. Man. So then that was 2 weeks ago as of this weekend. And then there's just been a crazy slow recovery. And then Friday last week, having a coughing fit, I actually herniated a disc in my back. Well, I already had one, but I flared it up. So I was bent over coughing, and next thing I fell to the ground. And
oh my god!
So this week's been back recovery.
Yeah, geez. What is that? Is that your first round of COVID, or you've had it before?
No, it was my second. The first one definitely wasn't as bad.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because this has been followed up by 3 other equally worse things, just sequentially week by week. That's mad. Yeah, I'm lucky. I thought like how social I am, I'd definitely get COVID. I've been pretty good. I haven't got it like since it started, so I don't know, touch wood.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Like my dad hasn't had it, and he works in a nursing home, so
Yeah,
it's been through the nursing home, and he didn't get it.
that's crazy.
And then like my coworker, I share an office with him. My workplace is like 17 people, and out of the 17, about 12 of us got COVID that week.
Oh my
And
god.
and even so, the guy I share an office with, like I sit meters from him, he didn't get it. And like his family's had it before, and he didn't get it when his whole family had it.
Jeez. Yeah. No, I don't think anyone in my family has got it. Yeah, so we've been
Stop
pretty
going
lucky.
to work. I think that's what Blake
Yeah.
means.
Exactly. I'll stop going there.
I've been working from home on Saturdays, which has been pretty good.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. I'm sort of lucky with my job. I can work from home pretty much most of the week. I only work 3 days a week because uni and all that, but I work from home like 2 days, maybe 3 days, depending on the week. It's pretty light.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Stop going. Oh, I think I'm pretty sure Blake meant about the vaccine talk that was happening. Well, I mean, it helps. I've had all 3 vaccines, the first, the second, and the booster. So, I mean, I haven't gotten COVID yet. I don't know if that says anything, but each to their own, I guess.
Yeah. What are the red-tailed fish behind you?
Oh, they are pink-tailed chalceus, South American species. They've been on the Aquarium Co-op channel here and there, but I've got 14 of them. I'm not meant to have 14 of them. The original plan was just to have 5, but I ended up with 14 somehow. Yeah, I'm gonna probably keep the biggest 5, and they get to like a solid foot long, I believe, like maybe a foot and a half long.
Oh wow!
So yeah, they're a really cool top dwelling South American fish. You don't see them all that often. I'd probably go as far as saying I have the most pink-tailed chalceus out of everyone in Australia at this very moment. I'd be pretty confident in saying
accidentally,
that. Yeah, no one else that I know of has 14. Yeah, but it wasn't cheap. They're about $220 each. So
Ooh.
Yeah, I just like every time I see them, I'm like, and this is a collection that's been happening over the past year and a half, I reckon. And every time I see like 2, I'm like, oh god, yeah, I'll get them. And then I see like another 4, and I'm like, all right, fine, I'll get them. Yeah, there's just my local fish store has just been making like business from me of just buying pink-tailed chalceus. Like I'm the only customer that like somehow knows what they are. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll buy them.
Yeah. It's like the Vija Argentera or whatever they're called.
Yeah, Argentina, yeah.
Argentina. I forget how rare they are. And then somebody will come and buy fish off me and just casually walk through the house past the tank, and like they'll stop and look at it, and they'll be like count them, and they're like, wow, I've never even seen more than 1, let alone 10 of them.
Exactly. Like when I made a care guide about the pink-tailed chalceus a couple of weeks back on my channel, and the amount of comments of people that were like saying they've never heard of these fish before, I was like, wait, really? It's like, are they that rare? Like no one knows about them. It's the same deal. Like for people that really do know what pink-tailed chalceus are, whenever I share a picture of them, like on Instagram or something, they're like, wow, exactly like what you said. I've never seen more than like 2 at any given point, and you've got 14. How?
Yeah, I'm having a bit of a Google of them to see what they look like when they're bigger. Oh, I have seen them.
They just look like, yeah, exactly. They're really cool. They just look like massive missiles with bright pink tails.
Yeah, like the black through the scales is quite distinctive, hey, when they get bigger.
Yeah, it's very nice. The other thing that's also really cool, you probably won't be able to see it that much, but like their bottom fins, like the pectoral, the ventral fins, they all have like really bright yellow on them as well. So like it contrasts awesomely with like the pink, the yellow, silver body. Yeah,
Yeah, you can see it in
it's
the
crazy.
video.
Yeah, and like feeding them as well. Like they get fired up whenever I throw. I'll see if I've got some pellets right here. I'll throw some pellets at
Handy
them. You'll see
pellets.
just how like yeah, I've got pallets everywhere, mate. Like any like nook and cranny you see in the fish room, there's a type of pallet. I've got like four. Oh no, yeah, there's 4 different foods that I feed mostly, but I've also got like 30 containers just everywhere of different brands that I test out. Because I love like trying out new fish food. So I'll buy a fish food, get like a quarter of the way through it, and I'm like, oh, there's a new one, and then I buy it, and then I buy it, and then I'll dump some in here. They are skittish, but like when they feed, like everyone just goes and smashes the surface. Yeah, it's good fun. And then like the salmon tails come and eat it. The discus got some clown loaches yesterday, and they're big clown loaches. There's a ton of fish in this tank. Oh, the lungfish has just come out as well. I don't know if you'll see him. He's all the way down here.
Yeah, I can just see him. Looks like a dark rock. Oh, now he's out.
Yeah. Oh, let me see if I can move out the way. Now, come to the. Yeah, he spends like all of his time just in this side of the tank, and there's no sand where he is.
Yeah.
He just pushes it all. Oh, yeah.
G'day, G Snap. G'day, John. How are you?
I'll let him. He's moved across to the front now.
I've only ever seen one in person.
Well. Yeah, it's again, there are fish that you just like you never see, especially in like a home tank as well. The amount of effort that you got to go through just to like find one, let alone buy one, it's crazy. I haven't seen them for sale for probably the past 6 months. I think the breed has slowed down or something like that with them, but yeah, they're around.
Yeah.
Oh, Blake.
How are the killer pancakes?
Good. I ended up getting some Mortoros recently. So I've got 5 Mortoros, 2 males and 3 females. And I'm only keeping a pair. So I split the purchase with a mate. So I'm just keeping the male and the female pair. Originally, it was meant to be a trio as well. So I have 2 females as well. But one of them passed away with the breeder, because I've been talking to him for the past 2 months. You know, he first let me know when they were actually born. So one of them passed away a couple of weeks in. So I just said I'll keep the pair, and then when he has another female, I'll grab it off him. But yeah, they're such awesome fish. Like I didn't realize how active they would be, because I thought like stingrays for the most part will just be down near the bottom of the tank. You know, they'll just hide around. But during the day, these fish are like in the water. They're like swimming up against the flow, like mid water column. And I'm like,
yeah, they love good flow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think but my big stingray tank, that's why I was pushing for such a large airlift, is because I knew if I had the big 90 mil airlift that the rays would ride the wave.
Yeah, they do. It's so fun whenever I see them. Like I just stop doing everything and just watch them for like half an hour when they do it. I found it a bit weird because I feel like they don't spend as much time when the lights are on than I thought they would. Because I've got like the tank they're in is right here. I apologize for the mess, but they're in here, and there's a bunch of pots like up near the back, and they spend all of the time in the shade, like in the shadows. And then near the afternoon or whenever I throw some food in, they're all out at the front. Like at this point, you can't see any of them. There's one like in the corner over there, but like you never see them when the lights are on, except for like midday when they decide they're going to start riding the flow. But I only
give them a bit of time.
So, yeah.
G'day, Collaboration. I actually was on Collaboration's stream the other day while I was at work, listening to them have a gas bag.
Oh, wicked. I'd love to get a pair of diamonds. I've been speaking to a breeder, but they're not the cheapest fish in the world, so I'm just saving up for it.
I did get a pretty cheap lead on black diamonds, but I just said to him, I can't do it until my pond's fixed.
Yeah.
Um,
How's that coming along?
it's not.
I'm like, I always look at
I'm
my
low
comments
key.
on it.
It's just in such a horrible spot to fix.
That's true.
Like step one is getting it clean, and so you wouldn't think it, but like your sponge filter's got the bubbles coming out. Just that tiny little splash out, like on the top of that, is enough to keep the floor of that pond kind of damp. And
okay.
I've been going around and trying to put lids on tanks and cover all the bubbles so that nothing's coming over the edge. And I think I've got it pretty close. Basically, I think I'm at the point now where if I gave it a really good clean, put a fan in it and dried it out, it might stay dry. But because my fish room's had a wet floor, well, it does have a wet floor, I've never bothered with trying to stop bubbles splashing. And if a tank's got like a small leak in a corner, like I used to just leave it. The Stingray tank was a prime example of that. That tank leaked for like 2 years with the Stingrays in it, and I just never did anything about it because the leak was slow enough that the auto water change system was topping it up quicker than it was leaking. But it got to the point where when the floor stays wet, the roof gets moldy. So instead, it wasn't the fact that the water was ruining anything. It was the fact that it was a bit of a health risk. That's when I shut it down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, is there because it's in a bit of a weird spot, it's sitting underneath 2 racks, right? Like you've got 2 racks that go on top of it, or it's under a pretty.
It's underneath 4 racks.
Oh well, there you go. So, is there any way that you could chop it up, take it out, and just build something new in there, or is it just better to fix it up rather than replace it entirely?
The problem is I built the room around it. To chop it up, I'd probably have to cut it into at least 8 pieces to get it out.
Yeah.
And it's 3mm stainless steel, so it would be pretty tough to cut. I've just got to bite the bullet, and the thing is, to repair it, it'll be a quick process because you've got to glass it, then you've got to resin it within 24 hours. So when I decide to bite the bullet, it's going to be a 2-day process, and it'll be done.
Oh, okay.
But it's just
cleaning it up,
building up the motivation. Yeah, I was thinking there's some holes I want to cover and stuff. I was thinking just paper macheing them like the old school newspaper, and then when you'll fiberglass over it. I don't see any problem with that.
Well, yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, the fiberglass is really most important, and the holes, you're just providing some structural support for the fiberglass.
Yeah. John wants a dwarf black diamond. The dwarf stingrays is just a marketing. What would you call it? Pulling the wool over your eyes. All the dwarf stingrays. It's kind of like the dwarf the miniature pigs.
Yeah, exactly.
People sell miniature.
Yeah, even with Razor, I don't think I've heard of a dwarf black diamond. You see it all the time with Mortoras where they're it's a teacup ray, or with Hystrix rays, Mantillas, they're it's a teacup ray, but they're all going to get 3 feet in minimum. So it's hectic.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. On the seller's side, them actually marketing it. I definitely think retail for any fish or any animal is they definitely push a sale over the correct care for the animal.
Yeah, for sure. It's actually sort of a good thing that we have the prices that we do in Australia for some of the fish, because I see I talk to people that live in like Singapore and stuff that have access to all of these fish at like dirt cheap prices, and they have like Mortora stingrays that are now thriving in their waterways. And I'm like, how on earth like does that even happen? Like, how do you release a South American stingray into like an Asian island and have a wild population that's thriving? And like they can just go
Yeah.
fishing for Mortoras if they want. And like that is absolutely crazy. The only ray I can get about 6 feet across. Oh well, yeah. There's no
That's-
point at that. Like, yeah,
A saltwater ray. Is that what he's referring to? Well, it's quite far from any
Probably.
saltwater.
yeah.
I remember a friend of
Yeah.
mine had a black diamond Matoro cross, and you know those half shells that they put the sand in. She was the size of one of those shells. Like they filled one of those with water,
God.
and they put her in the shell, like on a trailer to move her.
That's nuts. Yeah. Oh, that's what Blake. That's what I said before. The whip rays. So we do have.
Oh yeah,
I don't think they're full freshwater. I mean, they can live in full freshwater, but they're like an interchangeable species, so they can go fresh, brackish, salt, and then back to fresh. So yeah, you can get whip rays. I'm surprised. I don't know if they're a protected species or not, but I'm surprised that you don't hear about them more in like people's tanks. Well, I mean,
yeah.
to be fair, they do get like 6 feet across, which doesn't help. But like, surely if people are keeping like full-grown Mortoras, which are like 4 feet, 6 feet isn't that far off. It is.
I think
It's
maybe
pretty
if
short.
they are almost freshwater but not quite, I wonder if it's like the bumblebee gropers where they just don't live well in
But I think
captivity.
with freshwater whip rays, they can breed in freshwater. So like if you kept them in like a freshwater tank for their entire life with enough space, they could live there for like their entire life. And if you keep like males and females, they'll breed and make more. It's just that they can also live in salt if they wanted to. If you're
Yeah,
looking with mangrove jack, barra, and salty crocs, you know they aren't going to be easy to put them. Yeah, Blake's right. If they're living across like alongside mangrove jack, saltwater crocodiles, saw sharks, and all of those, it's not going to be easy. I think there's one like public aquarium. It might even be like Darwin's public aquarium that have them in a big freshwater or like a big saltwater pond. I'm pretty sure that they get like they're huge. Oh, the only NT can't keep a sawfish.
NT whip rays. Let's Google.
Yeah, they're cool. There was 2 years ago, I was fully investigating how I can like try and keep one in captivity because I had just had like this huge addiction to like the Northern Territory freshwater fish, so like whip rays, sawfish, the Glyphis shark, which is a shark that also can. It's like a bull shark basically, but they can live their entire life in freshwater. Ton of crazy fish.
Yeah, interesting. They definitely look like a saltwater ray, don't they?
Yeah, they do. It's cool as not seeing black diamonds much over 2 feet. Actually, Chevy, there's some fish I think you'll be interested in that I'm getting shortly. I'm getting some peacock bass. I'm getting 4 pure Zingu bass, which I've wanted for such a long time. But Chevy's a man of his peacock bass, so I thought might be interesting.
Yeah. Peacock bass is like a touchy subject for me.
Oh, really?
I'm really not a fan of all the crossbreeding.
Oh,
Now I know that I know that's coming from a flowerhorn breeder, but a peacock bass, I just can't see why you'd want to cross the species. To me, there's not any traits that are strong enough that you would want to mix to create something, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but I think it's the same Same case with like what you see in freshwater ray keepers as well, right? Like, when you see all of these new peacock bass species come into Australia, you're like, oh, I want one of that, one of that, one of that, one of that. You put it all into one tank, and then eventually you'll have a male and a female of two different species. They breed, and they're like, well, I can make a quick buck off this and sell it, right? So I think it's more so just like, people didn't focus on keeping those species only settings with those bass. So they've just got
Yeah.
jelly bean tank. They breed and they sell the babies. It's why I spent so much time trying to find good quality pure Mortoros, because in Victoria there's tons of stingrays for sale at any given point, but they're all hybrids, which I'm not a fan of myself. I just feel like the patterns that you see in pure rays, unless you've like really worked on them, it's just not the same.
Yeah.
So yeah.
If once I've finished the Stingray tank, I think like my goal is to have a pair or a trio of Matoro and then a pair or a trio of black diamonds, and
Yeah.
not put them together, keep them separate.
Yeah.
Have it set up like I had it before with 3 bays. The females on the 2 outside ones, and then the males can share the middle one and like switch between.
That'd be a really nice setup, because you like utilizing the entire pond, keeping 2 species as well, and like you're keeping them separate. So that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Maybe I should
Chevy
start
Bodgy.
working on it tomorrow.
You know what, Rumble? This is the motivation that you've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Bodgy has brought the motivation. Start on it tomorrow.
I think step 1 is going to Kmart and buying a cheap fan, because I need to put a fan in there to dry it out.
You'll be able to build the entire pond, I bet. You just buy it. Kmart's becoming like Bunnings at this point. I've got everything. They've got more stuff than Bunnings has. Like, you go there for storage. They've got like storage of every single shape, size, and color that you can think of. The amount of like fish supplies I've bought from Kmart that I have bought from like local fish stores has been nuts.
Yeah. Oscars will eat red plants. That is a fact.
What's Chevy? Do you know Tasman Sharp? Chevy, I knew him. Let's put it that way.
That's a subject we're not here to talk about.
Mate, I met him in person like 3 times, because he wanted me to come and like make videos for his company, where he would set up a channel, and he wanted me to like come and talk about his products and all of that. And I just I never really got the interest to go and do it. One, because it was just time, and he's like, I'll pay you and everything. But then after I saw the reviews come in for like him not giving people stuff, I was like, oh boy, I really dodged a big bullet on that one.
He owes a friend of mine thousands and thousands of dollars.
Honestly,
it's pretty public information, because if you've ever seen on Facebook, you can look on his Facebook wall and people calling him out.
I'd say easily there's over $100,000 that he might owe collectively to all of the customers that he's had. Like the business has gone into liquidation. It's crazy.
Yeah. G'day, Mexico. How are you?
I see like all the posts of people like asking for his address and his number and everything, and I'm like, oh, if you asked like a couple months ago. Yeah.
There's a Facebook group, victims of
There is,
Tasman
there's a full Facebook group. So they're just trying to collect a bunch of information and details so they can like take it to court, and call him out for it. Because like once they've issued out a court order, like he has to show up. At this point, he's just been avoiding everything. And he said, like, there was a Facebook post I saw a couple, it might have been last week, where he was messaging someone saying he's working like 4 jobs, just trying to make the money to pay people out. But I don't know, it's a bit rough. Like, what can you do? And the thing is, he's younger than me. He's a year or year and a half younger than I am. So, yeah.
This is crazy. There's a full Facebook group. There's even people showing like what forms you need to fill out and shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because they're fully just collecting evidence to take him to court.
Yeah.
Because like you can message him as much as you want now, but there's no law saying that he owes people X amount of money and he has to pay it by this date or anything like that, you know. So once they take it to court and issue a court order and all of that kind of stuff, it's nuts, you know. It's like you have to abide by the law or they're going to lock you up. So yeah, I don't know. I hope it gets sorted out. A ton of money that people have spent. I
Oh,
saw
interesting.
the pond supplier for him, the fiberglass pond supplier for him, just signed up with the local fish store near me. So they finally found another supplier for the ponds that he had. But yeah, that'll be interesting. See how it goes.
Yeah. People actually saying that he took money off them after he had already liquidated the business, so he knew that he wasn't
Yeah.
getting the products.
No, that's all good, Chevy. Look, I would have like talked about it at
Let's
one
drop
point
that
or another.
subject.
It's just that, yeah, exactly. Like I've known about it for so long, but I never like said anything about it until there's like in the saltwater community, there's a leukemia auction that happens every year. That just a hobbyist, he makes himself. So a bunch of fish stores, both fresh, saltwater, all across Australia, they donate products. And every year, it happens in April, they put the products on auction. So you can get stuff at like 70% off, and the auction starts. And like I got a canister filter, like a BioPro canister filter that's like $220 retail. I got it for like $60 through the auction, but all the money from the proceedings, they all go to the leukemia fundraiser. And there was some Inkbird heaters that Tasman had donated that he never ended up shipping, but he got paid the money for it. And I'm like, that's when I was like, mate, how cheap can you be? Like, you've donated funds for cancer, right? And you haven't like supplied the products. Like, surely there's another level of like, not having the money and just being like a cheapskate. And I'm like, that's rough.
On those Inkbird heaters, they failed on me, hey. But
Really?
so they kept on saying that they're out of water, and then
Yeah.
I pulled the top cap off, and there's the sensor. I could put my finger on it, and it would start working. And I ended up taking them out, and I cleaned like a bit of calcium buildup off the sensor.
Yeah.
But I haven't actually put them back into a tank to see if they work. But from what I could tell,
Yeah.
it was just the sensor dirty.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
the only good thing about it is if you're buying them heaters, generally they're coming with a controller, so the controller tells you that the heater's not working.
It's a bit odd because I was going to buy a temperature controller because I've got heaters, but I thought I'll replace all my glass ones slowly with titanium heaters. But just hearing like how many mixed reviews it has, like Inkbird has such a weird following. Like there's a cult following that says it's amazing, they swear by it, and they buy 50 of them. And then there's like a separate group that just says they're absolutely terrible and they fail after a year and they don't work and blah 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 blah. So I'm like, do I buy them or do I not? Like, what's the deal here?
Yeah, I think I don't know if like I do something wrong with heaters, but I've never had luck with aquarium heaters. Like,
Yeah.
I've had remember the IBCs and the 8 foot, I had all Eheim digitals in there, and like 6 heaters all died within a month of each other.
Wow. Yeah.
And then like in the end,
it's weird because I think with heaters, the way that we might be using them, I feel like every now and then is a bit weird because like when you look at the way they work, they've all got a thermostat inside that reads the temperature. They all turn on, heat the water up, and then turn off. But when you've got like 2 or 3 heaters next to each other, I always think that it might be screwing them up. Like when one of them is heating and causing all that heat, I feel like it's shorting the other one because it's a bit confused about what the actual tank temperature is because there's one that's heating right next to it. So I don't know if that messes up with like the temperature and all of that kind of thing. But I've always found that having more than one heater in a tank causes problems down the line for both of them. And it like based off what you've said, when all of like the 6 heaters stuff up in a short period of time, it's really weird.
Yeah, I think the best option with aquarium heaters is, I'm going to say it out loud, Aqua One. Aqua One heaters
Mm,
on an Inkbird controller. They are so effing cheap, and they do fail, but if they fail in like the first 3 months. If they don't fail in that 3 months, they last for 10 years.
yeah.
So like it's
Well,
almost
not to
like
mention
they're enough to
yeah,
take the gamble. But I wouldn't use one without a cheap heater without an Inkbird controller. In saying that,
yeah. Well, actually, Aqua One has titanium heaters now with the heater controller. So, and it's like $80 for like a 3-month titanium heater with the temperature controller as well. So I thought I may as well just go like full Aqua One it and just get a bunch of the titanium heaters with the temperature controller. Given the price they are, it's like too good to pass up, to be honest.
oh yeah,
But also,
I
I
haven't
reckon the
seen this
Aqua One
series before.
products get a lot of flock for like no reason. Their canister filters are a bit weird, I agree, but their hang-on back filters, their lights, the heaters, and all the stuff they have for like saltwater aquariums, for the price they are, I reckon they work pretty good. Even the test kits, I feel like not Aqua One test kits, no, API. I'm talking about the wrong brand. API test kits, I feel like they get hate for just no reason, and I feel like people just don't use them correctly. And I'm like, I don't know, I've never had a problem using them for like 10 years that I've been testing water.
Yeah, I don't know. So I had an API test kit about, it would have been 10 years ago, and the nitrates were reading 0. And
Yeah. Oh,
um, like people have said to me since then that it's the way I was doing it, but it was that long ago. Like I don't remember exactly how I was doing it.
yeah. Because
Um,
I do have to say that Aqua One really doesn't give clear instructions on how to properly like use and manage the test kit. But the way I've always found it is, because I've used it for so long, is that even if it's like they need to be as sterile as that you can possibly keep the test kit. Even if there's a little bit of residue from like your previous test, it'll stuff up your results. So the way I
yeah,
always do it is like I keep all the test tubes in water all the time. Before I test, I rinse it out 4 times, shake the bottles like crazy, test, then rinse everything out again, keep it stored in water, and just make sure everything is as clean as possible.
yeah.
But yeah, and changed my room heaters several times and ended up, with Aqua One. Catches a lot of people out not shaking the solution bottles or reading. Yeah, exactly. Chevy, I like rarely use test kits as well. I've tested the last time I tested water was before I got the Stingrays, and it had been like 3 years since I did a water test last. I test the
Um,
saltwater tanks every
I
now and then. Like they're the more frequent ones.
I usually try to do like spot nitrate testing of just random tanks, simply because of the auto water change system. Like you really don't know exactly how much water's coming out. I don't have a in date one at the moment, but
Yeah.
I
Actually, I
think the
was
last one I
thinking,
used
just
was
with the
Red Sea.
okay, yeah. I was thinking with the auto water change system, because like how you mentioned, you aren't really able to tell how much water is coming out. Would there be a way that you could set up like a testing tank? Because I thought about doing this just to see how effective they are, right? So the idea I had was like you have a Kmart tank, you set it up, like you drill it so there's a hole for the old water to flow out of, and you add like you add either like blue food dye is like the water that's going in, so you can just like you can test how much dye is passing out of the water, right? So you have like a liter, you have a liter of water, you have the Kmart tank, the liter of water, you add a ton of blue food dye to it, you add the liter of water into the Kmart tank, and obviously the excess water would overflow out of the Kmart tank. and the excess water, if there's any, like depending on how blue it is, it'd be able to tell just how much of the new water is flowing out of the tank. Does that make any sense at all, or am I just like rambling? Yeah.
Yeah, so like the tank, as it got darker, you could kind of figure out what rate it's getting darker, and then have a controlled tank
And
where you drain and then fill and like compare the color.
It's also
so
like the water that's coming out.
I've just gone off the rule of thumb that an overflow is only 60 to 70% as efficient to drop and fill. I don't even know where I got that from. Somebody said it to me once.
No, I feel like, yeah, I've read that before as well myself. So,
as far as how much I'm changing, the little 4mm hose I know is roughly 60 liters a day. So like on the 2.5 foots, there's a single hose in there, and I know that that's 60 liters a day. The 7x4, that's got 4 hoses in it, so I know it's like 240 liters a day. That's how I've worked it.
Oh, that's a good way. Like if it works and you've got that rough calculation, then I think it's fine. I just like, for me, it was fascinating to sort of like find out just how much new water is coming out in just an overflow style system. You could probably test it even further. Like the new water, you just add a ton of ammonia to it, but like you add a level of ammonia that you know, like you can test. And then as the ammonia water is entering the experiment tank and the water is overflowing out, the water that flows out, you would then be able to test how much ammonia, or if there's any ammonia present in the water that's flowed out. So you know that your new water is, I don't know.
There would be 100% a calculation to work out the exact amount of water just by how much ammonia is in that drain water.
Exactly. Because like in my new fish room, when I set it up, I want to go auto water changes for everything. But because like the entire building is going to be off rainwater, I want to try and see if I can like maximize the amount of, rainwater that or like try and minimize the amount of waste that I'm producing with the rainwater. So I'm going to set up that experiment, I reckon, and I'm going to try it out. Look at us go. You're going to set up the tank. You're going to set up the pond tomorrow. I want to set up this experiment.
I think if I was going to do it again, I would consider doing drain then fill, like having a ball valve that drains all the tanks at once.
Is there any way to automate the ball valve though, or are you saying like you just every day you'd go and like manually open it and let like a float valve fill it up or something?
I would just have ball valves on every tank. You can get electronic ball valves. The problem is if you go completely auto, someone said this to me before I set mine up. If you go 100% auto like mine is, you become complacent to the room. Like, and you start overlooking the rest of the maintenance on the room. Whereas if you're going in there twice a week dumping ball valves, I just think it's good time spent in the room. And really, if you've only got to turn a ball valve for 10 minutes on each tank, I don't really see that as being a huge burden. It's just enough to get you in the room.
Exactly. I thought like the reason I wanted to try and look to go as like automated as possible is just like if I go traveling or something, like if I'm away from home for like a week or two, it's not too much of a big deal because I only really do water changes on like the 5-foot tank behind me. I only do it like every 3 weeks, and I do like a 60 to 70%. So I've gone plenty of time without doing a water change. It's just like having that peace of mind. But a ball valve, I reckon, is probably going to be the most efficient and also the easiest way of doing it.
Yeah. I've definitely tested that theory out of going on holiday and that. And the only fish that kind of suffer, anything under like 3 centimeters, they don't do well. Doesn't matter what breed of fish it is. Africans, flower horns, like Americans. I've never had whenever I've gone on holiday, I've always tried to not breed because I
Yep.
know those young fish won't survive if I don't feed for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Oh well, big fish are just crazy resilient. Like I could probably go without feeding my lungfish for like 2 weeks easily, and he'd be fine.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they've just got all that like muscle and fat that they can convert into energy if they need. Like they'll get skinny, yeah, but they won't die anytime soon. Yeah.
Chevy's doing a water change. My shrimp. Oh, actually, I don't have shrimp. And my guppy tank. I've only been doing top ups on that. I haven't done any water changes.
Yeah. Oh, I'm the same. Like
I
with
was-
my nanos, I've just been topping up rather than I've got a tank on my desk. It's like 50 liters. I haven't done a water change on that in like 2 months. But the pH is so low and there's so much botanicals that there's no ammonia that builds up in it. And there's only 2 fish in that tank. So
Yeah,
it's like a 40-liter tank with 2 small fish. And there's no point. You know, I'd probably be doing more harm and causing like a bigger imbalance in doing a water change than I would be
yeah,
just leaving it and topping it up. Cool.
yeah. I've got like.
However,
I've been.
oh yeah, sorry, go
You got to
ahead.
head off. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, is that all right? So it gives me 10 minutes to quickly eat, get ready, and then I will, I'll tune back
Jump
in
on
and
the
then I'll
stream.
kick mine off. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for having me on, though. We've been talking about this for
All
a
right.
bit. We finally got it all sorted.
Yeah, it was good, and it actually was good to get the topic back onto fish on my streams because I know the last few I've been dribbling shit.
Yeah, sometimes I'll tune in and you would just be like talking about your new like motorbike part. I'm like, oh, here he is going at it again.
Oh, I don't want to talk about the
That
motorbike at the moment.
Cool. I'll leave you guys to it. Have fun.
All right, see you later.
Thanks, mate.
All right, that was pretty cool. If anyone ever wants to come on the stream, just hit me up. It's not that I don't want people on here. It's just that I get too lazy to ask people to come join me. That was pretty cool. Bodgy's definitely got more fish than I realized. Those pink tails are pretty cool, eh? The only Oscar says my shrimp tanks do better when I ignore them. Yeah, 100%. So my guppy tank, a friend actually donated me some blue bolt guppies, and they were quite small, so unsexable, and I've grown them out, and they're all males. So I've got a tank of all male blue bolts, so there's no chance of breeding. It's not a big burden on the filter because there's only a couple of blue bolts in there. I think there's one red cherry male in there. Anyway, point being, said friend, he actually comes in this chat a bit. He said he's going to send me a confirmed buried female to put with them. I can definitely get some females where I am through the markets of markets, but they won't be the quality of the males that I've got. You should see them. They're awesome. They're what's classed as his culls, but to me, they're cool. So if you know, like guppy breeders, they're going for the really dark, like blue bolts. I like the like bright fluoro blue, which is like the lower grade. So to me, him giving me his culls is better than him giving me his good ones, if you know what I mean. These has anybody used these Aqua One Titan heaters? What's that? Is there any advantage to going titanium? Can you see? Oh, look, I planted the plant. What's it called? Variegated Monstera. I'm scared I'm going to kill it by overwatering it, but we'll see. It gets aquarium water. You can get that in a 500 watt. the cool thing about Aqua One is the channel sponsor Aquarium, Korean Pet Central. They stop them, so I can get mates rates. We'll call it mates rates. But the thing is, so I'm going to tell you. I think I've already told the channel, but I've had a long, hard think about it. A really long, hard think. I'm going to sell my snakes. I'm going to sell the 2-foot tanks that I was going to build the rack. I'm going to sell the 4-foot in the house. I'm going to sell all the tanks that aren't inside the fish room. Anything that's not auto water change is going. Anything that needs a heater is going. So the plan is the reverse cycle in the fish room is the only aquarium heater I'm running. Everything's on auto water change. Removing a few maintenance things in my life. Basically, I want to try and thin out the care that needs around the house. It's just too much. And also it's expensive. Like the snakes, I just feed them. I don't really handle them, and they're expensive to feed. So the only shit thing is like the enclosure cost me a lot to build, and I don't think I would get my money back trying to sell it. I'm thinking about trying to rehome our rabbit too. We had our rabbit. She was a bit lonely. Someone had a D-sex rabbit. Their other rabbit died, so we brought him to us so they could be together. And then our girl passed away recently, and he definitely doesn't seem happy without her. He like kicks around in the cage and shit. So thinking about rehoming him to someone else who has a rabbit. Yeah, so $119 for the 500 watt Aqua One heater. Plants are creating an ecosystem. Yeah, definitely. I wish I could grow plants in my fish room. Life with kids is busy. Yeah, definitely. G'day, George. How are you? It's not just the life with kids. It's not just the time as well. I want, at the moment, so my dirt bike is broken and I'm working on it, and I'm struggling to get down each side of it to work on it. And like, there's just too many fish tanks in the shed. The shed is my workspace for motors and motorbikes, cars, all that. I used to be able to work on a car next to the hoist. At the moment, if I want to work on the car, it's got to be on or under the hoist. I want to get my shed back to that point where I can work on a car in the bay next to the fish room, next to the hoist. So it involves selling a motorbike. I'm going to sell one of the quads. I'm going to try to swap the quad for a 2-wheeler. So the plan is to have one quad, which is just for camping, my 2-wheeler, and I want to get the missus a 2-wheeler, and eventually Cooper will have one. The worst part is I want to sell tanks now, and the market's stuffed because of the interest rates. I got to sell the 8x2x3 on the IBCs, but I definitely don't think I'll be able to sell it as a set. I'll probably have to just sell the 8x2x3 and then cut the stand apart and then sell the IBCs by themselves. I want to say I'll finish them. I can see myself finishing the Gemini before I finish the Falcon. As far as the other side of it, I don't see myself selling either of them. The Falcon is actually my wife's. She's talked about selling it a couple of times, but never seriously, I don't think. You're never going to find a Falcon in that condition. Like, it does have rust, but it's probably like a weekend's worth of rust repairs. Chevy says RBCs are free around here. The only selling point I have over a standard IBC, mine do have the windows in them. So I might be able to get $100 for them if I'm lucky. The windows are definitely a selling point. The only problem is they're wrapped in that bloody... I'd have to try and break all the expanding foam off them. It just sounds like too much work. I think, like, if I sold them, I'd probably just try and cut like a straight line down the expanding foam, and then sell them with the expanding foam on them. Even if I sold the 8-foot and I could build, and I could get the quad above the IBCs, that'd be cool. The quad would fit in that corner on top of them. I think I would settle for that. No 8-foot. Keep the IBCs. Flower horn grow outs in summer. Flower horn overflow grow outs if I need them in winter. I want to get to the point where I'm back to having a batch of flower horns every 3 to 4 weeks. Because what happens is I get a batch of flower horns and I get a huge mojo and I'm keen on breeding. But now, like, my youngest flower horns are like 7, 8 weeks old. I've got that eager to breed again. So I need to create enough space to be able to breed that frequently as well. Oh, anyway, guys. I'm going to jump off. Bodgy's going to have a stream, I think. So should share a link for his channel. Bodgy from Australia. All right, so netfish and chill. Thanks, G-Snap. Yeah, I'm definitely feeling a bit better. I'm definitely not feeling 100%, but I'm feeling well enough to start doing shit around the house. But I've got to go. My wife's actually going out, so I've really got to go. I hope you all enjoyed it. Comment below if the quality dropped using StreamYard or if you can't tell the difference. I don't know how to have guests without StreamYard, but I'm sure if I messaged Blake, he would give me some hot tips on streaming. Anyway, guys, peace out.